and welcome to the Unsure to Unstoppable podcast. My name is James Dunn, and I was adopted. I grew up in a household with an alcoholic father, and I was arrested for attempted armed robbery when I was 17 years old. Why do I share that with you in this podcast introduction? Well, because while you may not have gone through any one of those specific set of circumstances yourself, you've had your own version of them, whether it's a loss of a job, a divorce, you were picked on as a kid. Something in your life has created this little voice in the back of your head that's made you doubt yourself, question yourself and what you're truly capable of. As a podcast host and as a mindset coach, what I do is I help you tell that little voice in the back of your head to shut the fuck up, get out of your own way, and move from unsure to unstoppable. And how I plan to do that is each week I'm going to bring you stories of inspiration, motivation, my own challenges, my own struggles, as well as those of others who've gone through challenging times, rough times, things that most people maybe just didn't think they could ever get through, but have not only gone through them, but come out thriving on the other side of them. And through the sharing of those stories, I hope to help you see that you're not alone in this journey called life. Whatever you've gone through, whatever challenges you're having right now, it doesn't matter. You are a fucking badass and you deserve an amazing, incredible life, and we're going to help you get there. So with that, enjoy today's show. All right, welcome back to the show. All right, today is Thanksgiving. At least that's when this episode is going to be released. So happy Thanksgiving to you. If you are not here in America, celebrating Thanksgiving with us, happy Thursday to you, because that's what day this will go out. That's what day we celebrate Thanksgiving. And I'm excited about it. I'm spending time with family today when this episode is being released, not when I'm actually recording it. But I just playing with the Thanksgiving side of everything. But anyway, so I thought this will be a perfect time, a perfect opportunity to talk about something that we think about around Thanksgiving a lot, which is giving thanks, having gratitude. Now, if you're in the personal development space at all, you hear this over and over and over and over again, that I believe, probably the biggest element, key to success, to happiness, to all of these things is gratitude. And I'm not going to lie to you. There's been many times when I heard people say that, like, yeah, fuck you and your gratitude, man. I'm broke as a fucking joke. My relationship sucks. This, blah, blah, all these things going on in my life. And I'm like, fuck you and your gratitude. I'll be grateful when all this stuff happens. And even through some of my personal development journey, and let's just be honest, even still sometimes today, I still have my moments where I have that little thought in the back of my head, fuck you and your gratitude. But the reality of it is, the truth of it is that the more that we can be grateful for the things that are in our life right now, the more happiness, the more joy, the more everything is going to come to us, the things that we truly want. We've got to learn to be grateful for what we have, and even the things that we don't necessarily have yet, but that we're desiring, that we are striving for. If we can learn to be grateful for those now, that's when they're going to show up in our life that much faster. And how you can see that happen, if you've got something in your life that you've ever really, really wanted, if you spent your time just going, oh my God, I gotta have it, I gotta have it, 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 oh my God, I gotta have it, I gotta have it, gotta have it, gotta have it. How stressful was that? How hard was that? And did it seem like it came to you faster, or did it seem like it took forever for that thing to come into your life? Chances are, if you stressed about it, if you spent all of your time just freaking out, like, then it felt like it took forever and a day and a couple hours for it to get to you. But if you just made the decision that this is mine, this is what I have in my life, this, I am already grateful for it, I'm thankful for it, I have happiness, I have joy, I have whatever, then it will just come to you. You will take actions that get you closer and closer to that thing being brought to you. But if you're stressing over it, then you're going to be pushing it away. So if you're thinking about, having great relationships, if you believe in your heart of hearts right now that you already have great relationships, then when you see the people that you want to have great relationships with, you're going to meet them, you're going to see them, you're going to talk to them in a much different tone than if you are desperate for these things to happen. If I'm desperate to have a relationship with somebody, or a friendship with somebody, or a connection with somebody, if I'm desperate for that, that's going to ooze out of me. That's going to ooze out of you, and it's going to repel that person. Trust me. Think about any time in your life where somebody has seemed desperate to you. What did that feel like when they were like that towards you? It made you want to get the fuck away from them. It made you feel icky, I'd imagine. But when somebody comes to you and they already feel like they have a natural connection with you, and not like a weird, creepy way, but just they feel very secure, they feel very happy, they feel very loving, in the nicest, kindest sense, did you or did you not automatically, I would imagine, or very quickly warm up to that person, connect with that person, have the type of connection with that person that you would truly want to have, and that they were ideally looking for, I guess. These are the things, when you have gratitude, when you're grateful for things before you even get them, it's going to help them show up so much faster. Now, you can look back at your life and you can say, but yeah, James, I went through some shit in my life that I don't think I can really be grateful for. I hear you. I've been there. I've gone through some fucked up shit in my life too. I share it all the time. I'm very open about the challenges I've gone through, the struggles I've gone through, because as I say all the time, the more we can share these stories, the more that we can talk about them, the more it makes the rest of us feel normal when we hear other people talking about it. And it just releases that stigma from us, and feeling like we're less than, or we're unworthy, when we can just get it out there and open, people know about it, and they still accept us and they still talk to us. But I look back at my dad's alcoholism. That's one that pops up all the time, that I still work through, on a regular basis. I can look back at that and the struggles I had with him and say, this is where a lot of the beliefs that limit me, that hold me back, this is where a lot of them had their foundation in. Now, why the fuck would I be thankful for any of that? Because if I wasn't thankful for that, if I wasn't grateful for that experience, then I wouldn't be here right now. I mean, that's why I'm thankful for it, is because it's what's led me to be right here, to be the educated person that I am, to be the developed person that I am. If I had not gone through that experience, I would take all of this for granted. I would take the relationship that I have with people for granted. I would take so many things for granted, and I wouldn't have the connection with myself and with these people and with life in general that I have now, if I had not gone through that. Going through that fucked me up in many ways. At least that's what I felt like at the time. It put me through situations that I had to then work through mentally and emotionally. And through going through all of that, that's what's led me to where I'm at today. And I wouldn't trade that for anything in the world, because if I hadn't gone through any of those, then I would not have met my first wife. I would not have had my first son. I would not have divorced my first wife, and I would not have met my second wife and had my daughter. So all of those happened because of all the shit I went through with my dad. All of those experiences, the divorces that I went through, the divorce of the first wife, gave me a much better perspective in what I wanted in my second wife. My divorce of my second wife gave me a much better perspective of what I want in my future relationships. So all of these things, if I am not grateful for them, what I'm going to be doing is spending all of my time in resentment and anger and hatred. And that is not going to help me. So if I spent all of my time being angry and upset over my first and second divorces, then how does that help me move forward in life? How does that help me in my future relationships? It's not. What's going to happen is I'm going to go into each and every one of those relationships, new relationships, and be like, oh, you're going to be like my fucking first wife. She was a bitch. She did this, she did that, whatever. Or, hey, you're going to be a bitch like my second wife. And for the record, neither one of them were bitches. I'm just using that as some language that people might understand, might resonate with, might connect with. But I might go into these new relationships having that old thought process, that old feeling, that old belief system, that this is what all relationships are like. But no, I can remove myself from those, and I can be grateful for those experiences, because they taught me what I did not want in relationships. And there were good pieces. So, I mean, there are pieces that I could take from that. It's like, oh, I want this, but I don't want this. No, I want this and I don't want that. And that's what's allowed me to grow. And so I'm extremely thankful for that, because if not, I would go into a new relationship, not having any of that information, not having that understanding of myself, what I value in a partner, what I will not allow, me to accept in a partner. And that's not to say these people are bad, but if a person, has certain characteristics and qualities that don't align with who I am, again, it doesn't make them a bad person, but it makes them not the person for me because I know what I want in my relationships. And I've gone through relationships where I've settled for less than that before, or I didn't recognize what I wanted before. And it wasn't until I got further into a relationship, I was like, oh, I don't like this. I don't want this in my relationship. And I was not in a place where I could understand how to deal with that. Going through those first two relationships, those first two marriages has taught me the importance of communication in relationships. And so I'm very grateful for the fact that in those two relationships, I didn't understand that. I didn't know that because through that process and going through it twice, I had to realize, like, wait a minute, what the fuck, man? Two divorces, one common denominator. What's that? That's me. I've got to figure out what the fuck I'm doing wrong. And I realized not being able to communicate with my partners, my wives, is what was a major problem and was a major factor in both of those divorces. I was not able to communicate with the first wife before we ever got together to resolve issues that I saw long before we got married. The second wife, it was issues that I kind of buried as well, or maybe just didn't dig deep enough or dig deep as I could have to, get to know her a little more before we really got too deep into it. And then these things bloom over the course of, your relationship over the course of time. Then you start to see them popping out and like, oh, fuck, where'd this come from? Communication. So these are all things I'm grateful for. And I want you to look at your life and ask yourself, where are the things that I have just resented or shoved aside or said, fuck this, fuck that. Why would I be thankful for that? Or why would I be happy about that? And you don't have to be excited about them. I wouldn't wish a lot of the stuff that I've gone through on anybody, but I'm going to be grateful for it because it gives me fuel. It gives me the things that I need to use to grow, to learn from, to say, okay, well, here's a history. And it's not to say that this history writes my future, but it gives me some information to look at and say, okay, what could I have done differently here? And not from a blame, not from a judgmental perspective, but simply from a perspective of learning, of data, of, okay, I tried this before. What if I try something different here? Or can I try the same thing with a different person? This is all information that we get through life, through experiences, and we want to be grateful for that. We want to be thankful for that. So again, ask yourself, what in your life have you pushed aside that have you been afraid to look at or not wanted to talk about that you can truly be grateful for and truly be thankful for? And how can I start being grateful for things that aren't even in my life yet? So that way they do come into my life faster. I do start drawing them in because, as I said before, the more that I'm grateful for it before it even shows up in my life, the more I'm going to take steps towards that. If I'm grateful for money that I don't even have yet, then I'm going to be much more open to that. I'm going to be doing things that lead that to come into my life. I'm going to be taking the extra chances in my business. I'm going to be making better connections with people because I'm grateful for it. I already know it's coming. I know it's here. I'm just looking like, oh, it's here somewhere. It's coming. I know it. I still got to take action, but I'm going to be taking the actions going to get that for me. But if I am resisting money, if I'm like, fuck, I'm broke as a joke, I don't have any money, I can't do anything ever. Well, we talk about this all the time. What you start telling yourself in your brain is what you're going to create in your reality. If I'm telling myself I'm broke as a joke and I can't fucking go anywhere, then every time your friends ask you, hey, do you want to go out? Nope, I'm broke as a joke. I can't go anywhere. If you turn somebody down to go out, that could have been that one time that you go out, you're hanging out with your friends. They happen to have another friend that you don't know about that pops in there and they have a business that maybe you could help support, that maybe you could get a job at, depending on what your situation is. Maybe you're an online entrepreneur and you have a service that could benefit this person, but you're broke as a fucking joke. So you stayed home and you never got to meet this person. So now that thing happens. Gratitude, my friends. Gratitude, gratitude, gratitude. Be thankful for it all. Be thankful for everything that comes along into your life. It will help you get through so many things, even the simplest little thing ever. I've had a couple of things. I can even tell you a perfect example. Just recently, I had groceries that didn't show up. I placed a grocery order, something didn't show up, and I'm like, oh fuck, man, I really needed that. It was chips. It was a bag of chips, is really what it was. But I was expecting that bag of chips because I was going to be eating some of them the next day for part of my lunch, and I'd already had it kind of planned out. And the chips didn't show up. I'm like, fuck. So the next day I didn't get my chips. I'm like, damn it. Kind of bummed, one of those kind of things. But here's the beautiful thing, and why, I still I learned to be grateful for everything, because what happened was that next day, later on in the day, I went to the grocery store, picked up some chips, and while I was at the grocery store, ran into a friend. Would never have ran into that friend at the grocery store that particular day. This is somebody I hadn't seen in, oh gosh, years, honestly. But I would not have run into this friend had I gotten those chips on the original grocery order. So even something as simple and as random and as stupid as a bag of chips that didn't show up, I'm thankful for that, because that allowed me to run into my friend. So again, be grateful for every single random fucked up little thing that happens in your life. All right, get out there. Have an amazing Thanksgiving day, and I'll see you next time. If you found value in this episode, please share it with your friends. Give us a 5-star rating on iTunes and anywhere else that you happen to hear it. We are just trying to celebrate life, make it better for everyone, and sharing these messages with them just helps them believe in themselves and what can be better than that.